How did a small mountain town in North Carolina become home to a unique hockey legacy? Well, the story behind that starts in a town called Spruce Pine. Originally founded in 1907 as a railroad hub, Spruce Pine sits 4 miles north of the Blue Ridge Parkway. By the early 1980s, a local resident named Robert Bailey had established the Buck Stove Company, a company that manufactured several types of, stoves. Anyway, as his success grew, Bailey decided that he wanted to give back to his community. His idea? To give the people of Spruce Pine something to do in their free time, and in the process, maybe lure in some tourists. He envisioned a recreational facility that would unite the community. The focus soon moved to finding a location. As luck would have it, a property owned by a local school system came up for sale. Bailey, along with his business partner, Alvin Barrier, wasted no time in securing the land with the intent of getting to work on building their multi-purpose facility. Now, what exactly does that mean? Well, the location, dubbed the Pinebridge Coliseum, would feature a restaurant and what would be the largest indoor ice skating rink in the entire state. The former Spruce Pine Elementary School, located adjacent to the Coliseum site, would be transformed into a 32-room inn. As construction on the facility began, Bailey had an idea to draw more traffic to the indoor rink: a hockey school. Now, he didn't really know where to begin, so Bailey reached out to former NHLer Rick Dudley. Now, this is a name that you're going to want to remember as we progress on this channel, but for the time being, let's get back to the story of Spruce Pine. A veteran of over 300 NHL games, Dudley was at this time serving as the owner, coach, and general manager of the Atlantic Coast Hockey League's Carolina Thunderbirds. Now, before we go any further, let's talk about the ACHL. Founded in 1981, the Atlantic Coast Hockey League, or ACHL, was a minor league that rose from the ashes of the old Eastern Hockey League. Over 6 tumultuous seasons, the league struggled to maintain a foothold before it ultimately folded following the 1986-87 season. Now, given the myriad of hats that he wore for the Thunderbirds, Dudley declined Bailey's offer. Despite this, Bailey pressed the issue, and ultimately Dudley agreed to visit Spruce Pine and to take a look at the facility. This visit would completely transform Bailey's vision. After touring the area, Dudley recommended to drop the hockey school idea completely. Instead, he proposed that the Coliseum would make the perfect home for a new ACHL franchise. Now, you might be thinking that going from a hockey school to a minor league team is a big jump. And it was. With Bailey's hopes that his new jewel would not only serve the community, but also drive tourism to the town, a team seemed like a worthwhile endeavor. Ultimately, Bailey bought into Dudley's vision and, after cutting the league a $5,000 check, the Pinebridge Bucks were born. With the team officially established, Dudley reached out to former Buffalo teammate Don Luce and recruited him to serve as the team's first head coach. Now, before we go any further, there's something important to keep in mind. At the time the Coliseum opened in 1983, Spruce Pine was a very small town with a population of approximately 2,000 people. This made it the smallest town to host a professional hockey team. It also meant that the team would have to run on a very tight budget. The new facility was staffed exclusively by volunteers. Barrier himself acted as both a handyman and the Zamboni operator. Every penny counted, and had to, if this new franchise was going to survive. During their inaugural season, Montreal native Rob Clavette emerged as the team's star. Acquired via trade from the Erie Golden Blades, Clavette finished the season with an impressive 53 goals and 131 points. However, despite Clavette's stellar performance, the team's offense struggled, managing just 329 goals over the 72-game season, the third worst total in the entire league. While the Bucks' offense was nothing to write home about, their defense and goaltending were even worse, surrendering a league-worst 422 goals, or 5.86 goals per game. Due to these struggles, Lewis was replaced by player-coach Frank Perkins, a move that failed to turn the team's season around. The Bucks finished the campaign with a record of 25-47, well outside of the playoff picture. Any hopes for improvement in a second season would require addressing both defense and goaltending. However, Bailey was questioning whether the Bucks would have a second season at all. Through the course of their first season, Bailey had seen business tactics that highlighted the volatility of the young league, as well as the financial tightrope he was forced to walk just to keep the team above water. Bailey stood ready to pull the plug on the team until a marathon phone conversation with Rick Dudley persuaded him to push forward. In a 2018 interview with The Athletic, Dudley recalled the situation, saying, "I spent from 10 a.m. to 4 a.m. one night convincing him to spend another year in the league, because if he backed out, Utica would want out because they didn't want to play in a 4-team league and we couldn't have a 3-team league. I convinced him to spend another year in the league, and he did it more for me than anything else." Ultimately, Bailey conceded, and the Bucks began preparation for the 84-85 ACHL season. While Bailey had relented to Dudley's request, his mind remained set on getting out of the hockey business. On December 11, 1984, Bailey sold 2/3 of the Bucks to Howard G. Snyder, a banker from New York with over 10 years' experience in professional hockey. The deal also included a 3-year lease at the Pinebridge Coliseum, a move that appeared to secure the team's future in Spruce Pine, if only temporarily. As the ownership transition moved along, the Bucks showed improvement on the ice. Clavette once again led the team in scoring, finishing the year with 52 goals and 114 points. Now, if that's not impressive enough, he did so in just 59 games. Newcomer Scott Robbins added 53 goals and 100 points, while top-line center Todd Bjorkstrand chipped in 41 goals and 83 points in 40 games. 40 games? Yeah, the 21-year-old scored at better than 2 points per game. The biggest improvement came from the defensive side of the puck, as the team cut their goals against by a whopping 124, allowing just 298 over the course of the season. This was thanks largely to new addition and future U.S. Olympian Ray LeBlanc. At just 19 years old, the Massachusetts-born goaltender led the team with 18 wins and an .891 save percentage. Now, I know what you're thinking, that might not sound very impressive, but that save percentage stood as the best mark in the entire league. Their improved performance garnered the Bucks their first playoff berth and a first-round showdown with the Erie Golden Blades. Despite Erie finishing the year with 56 more goals scored and 37 fewer goals allowed, the series proved to be tightly contested. The Golden Blades took Game 1 by a score of 6-2, an ominous start that reinforced the lopsided regular season stats. Despite this, the Bucks clawed back in Game 2, claiming a 5-3 victory. Clavette remained one of the hottest scorers in the league, and the Bucks would certainly need him if they wanted to keep their postseason hopes alive. Game 3 saw a more balanced affair by both teams. Ultimately, Erie squeaked out a 3-2 victory. As the series shifted to Spruce Pine for Game 4, the Bucks returned the favor with a 4-3 win, tying the series at 2 games apiece. Erie set the tone early in Game 5, putting 5 pucks in the back of the net and claiming a 3-2 series edge. The Bucks fought hard in Game 6, pushing the Golden Blades, but ultimately falling short. Erie claimed the game 5-4, and just like that, the Bucks season was finished. Unfortunately, it appeared that the Bucks themselves were also finished. Snyder had purchased 2/3 of the Bucks up front, with the intent of purchasing the remaining third with ticket revenue. However, the team averaged less than 500 fans per game, leaving Snyder unable to complete the sale. Unfortunately, this wasn't the end of the complications. With the sale incomplete, the 3-year lease was nullified. As a result, Bailey, who still owned the Coliseum, informed Snyder that there would be no ice at the facility for the upcoming 85-86 season. Now, with no home and an unclear ownership structure, the future looked dire for the Bucks. Marvin Eckerich, a businessman from nearby Asheville, reached out to Snyder with the proposition. Eckerich, a hockey fan who had attended several Bucks games, recommended the team move to the Asheville Civic Center. While moving into a larger facility and a higher population area seemed like a perfect fit, there was one little problem. At the time, the Civic Center had no ice. Undeterred, Eckerich formed Recreational Ice of North Carolina, an investment group that planned to build a new arena on the western side of Asheville. ACHL Commissioner Ray Moran stated that Eckerich had also formed a group that sought to purchase the Bucks, though that sale never came to fruition. And with that turn of events, the story of one of the most unlikely homes for a professional hockey team came to an end. Despite their short tenure, the Pinebridge Bucks have an important legacy. As Dudley alluded to in his interview, the ACHL would likely have folded had the Bucks shut down after their first season. By remaining in the league for another year, the ACHL was able to stabilize. Though the league ultimately ceased operations in 1987, it played an important role in establishing the East Coast Hockey League, a league that's still active today. Now, 40 years after their final game, there's little physical evidence of the Bucks' existence. In 2015, Mayland Community College took ownership of the Pinebridge Coliseum and Inn. Now known as the Three Peaks Enrichment Center, the renovated facility contains spaces for both college and community uses. The inn has now become the Blue Ridge Boutique Hotel, with each room named for a local attraction. And of course, there's always the memories. Memories of a time when Spruce Pine was the least likely home for a professional hockey team. Now, before I end this video, I want to share my favorite story about the Bucks. During the Bucks' inaugural season, Dudley's Carolina Thunderbirds came to town for a game at the Coliseum. Carolina's bus driver, upon seeing the winding road that led to the Coliseum, pulled over to the shoulder and basically refused to move. He said, "I'm not driving. I'm not going up this road in this bus. I'm not doing it." So, a member of Carolina management, maybe even Dudley himself, called the Bucks and requested a replacement driver. The Bucks agreed, sent someone down to drive the Thunderbirds bus up to the Coliseum, and the game went off without a hitch. It's a small piece of trivia, but one fitting the rough and tumble existence of the Pinebridge Bucks. I want to thank each and every one of you for watching this brief history of the Pinebridge Bucks. Hockey and its history in North Carolina are a passion of mine. So much so I actually wrote a book about it. Currently I'm working on a second edition, but this isn't a plug for the book. Just want to thank you guys for listening and apologize because I hate my voice. So if you also hate it, leave me a comment. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments, especially if you live in Spruce Pine, if you used to live there, you attended Bucks games in the past, let me know. I would genuinely love to hear about your experience with the Bucks. If you're interested in more hockey history, be sure to subscribe. This is a brand new channel, but I'll be working on the next video more likely than not by the time that you're watching this. So be sure to stay tuned. If you're not familiar, there have been a lot of professional hockey teams over the years that have played in North Carolina. But I thank you again so much for watching. Stay tuned till next time. Bye bye.